Hello, my name is ShradhaSinku, roll number 225 from section D, and the topic I've chosen for my assignment is Issues of the Banking Sector. A little on the banking sector in India. The modern day banking in India originated in the last decade of the 18th century. The liquidity of the banking sector is controlled by the Reserve Bank of India. The licensing requirements, investment in technology and branch network, capital, and the regulatory requirements are few of the barriers to entry into this sector. The demographics of the country creates a robust demand for banking and related services as it consists of a higher working population with a growing disposable income. The competition in the sector is pretty high as there are public sector banks, private sector banks, and foreign banks along with non-banking finance companies competing in similar business segments. The digital payment systems in India has evolved the most among 25 countries including UK, China, and Japan, with IMPS, Immediate Payment Service, being the only system at level 5 in the Faster Payments Innovation Index FPII. India stepped up to the 28th position on the governance adoption of e-payments ranking in 2018. As of the first quarter of financial year 2019, the total credit extended by commercial banks surged to 86,976.2 billion rupees and the deposits rose up to 1,15,070.3 billion rupees. As of 2020, there are 12 public sector banks, 27 private sector banks, 45 foreign banks, 43 regional rural banks, along with the urban and rural cooperative banks and credit institutions. And now, the issues. First, losses in the rural branches. The RRBs face a number of practical difficulties in the deposit mobilization. The RRBs exclude the richer sections of the village society in providing direct financial assistance, even though they have potential savings for deposits. The RRB's pace of growth in loan business is quite slow, which might be a result of the following reasons. The first reason, there have been limited scope for direct lending by RRBs in their fields of operations. B. It is always difficult to identify the potential small borrowers due to which the bank staff end up in making sincere but unfruitful efforts. C. Most of the small borrowers prefer informal or indigenous sources of finances over the bank formalities because they follow the procedures of the scheduled commercial banks in the matter of deposits and advancing loans, which are highly complicated and time-consuming for the villagers. D. There is no effective link between the RRBs and PACS or PACS, which stands for Primary Agriculture Credit Society, and the Farmers Services Association. A crucial practical difficulty experienced by the staff during working hours is their urban orientation, which is rarely inclined to serve the rural areas. The second issue, large overdues. The third issue, competition. When talking about non banking financial institutions, as far as deposit mobilization is concerned, commercial banks have been facing stiff challenges from non banking financial intermediaries such as mutual funds, housing finance corporations, leasing and investment companies. All these institutions compete closely with commercial banks in attracting public deposits and offer higher rates of interest than are paid by commercial banks. Then comes the competition thrown by the foreign banks and the smaller private sector banks which have registered higher increase in deposits. One reason seems to be that non-nationalized banks offer better customer service. This creates the impression that a diversion of deposits from the nationalized banks to the other banks has probably taken place. The fourth issue, rigidity. One major weakness of the nationalized banking system in India is its failure to sustain the desired credit pattern and fill in the credit gaps in different sectors. Even though there has been a reorientation of bank objectives, the bank staff has remained virtually static and the bank procedures and practices have continued to remain old and outmoded. Though the customers adapt to newly introduced digital procedures more or less rapidly, it's the staff which shows resistance. And lastly, the issues of political pressures. The smooth working of nationalized banks has also been hampered by growing political pressures from the center and the states. Nationalized banks often face lots of difficulties due to various political pressures. Such pressures are created in the selection of personnel and grant of loans to particular parties without considering their credit worthiness. Thank you.